5 bids.
All right, it's 10 o'clock, we can call the meeting to order. Want to stand for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda and the minutes.
All right.
Support.
Sure, I'll have some questions to ask about
Yeah.
a couple things.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Accounts payable dated May 29th, $100,125.97. No EFTs.
Move that we pay the bills dated May 29th for $100,125.97.
Support. There's two accounts payables.
I see that.
One has EFTs, the other one doesn't. First one doesn't. Do you want to approve all of them?
We can, but I just, okay, there's, I was looking for the table. Was that for both of them?
No, he only said May 29th.
I'll amend my motion to include June 12th for $218,168.07.
I'll support the motion to amend.
Any discussion, you want time to look at them?
I do have some questions.
No.
No.
I can't imagine.
Just here, I see we got another, 9,000 gallons of diesel. Did we go through about 10,000 gallons a month? I didn't realize. Where have I been for the last 2 years? I didn't realize.
I don't know,
10,000 a month. All right, well, that's why I'm asking the question.
That's probably a lighter month.
All right.
4 motor graders running.
Do we have grader bits for 80 through 20? And over here, the side of the grader bit says 20. So we got 20 grader bits.
They're blades.
Like
Probably for the trucks. That's what I assumed. They were for
400 and
trucks.
some bucks a piece.
Yep. I think those are specifically for the graders, because they're a different size than the ones that go on the trucks.
Oh, okay.
They're-
And then some, depending on what they are, they might have the scar fire teeth that go on them.
Well, then my question is, why do we have 20? Are there multiple,
We got 4 graders.
and they take 5 grader bits per grader?
2.
No.
Well, that's my question. We bought 20.
But you want some spares.
Yeah, you need spares.
Well, again, that's why I'm asking the question.
What is there? 4 cutting edges of grader? They're 12-foot blade.
There's 2.
Well, there's 2 6-footers.
No, there's 2 10-footers. Grader blade's wider than a normal.
Yeah, they're more than 12 foot, or they're 12 footing too. They're 14,
No, they're wider than that.
because the truck's 12 foot.
Yes. And even then, they have to be angled in to be running down the road much.
Right.
The grader has to tow it all the way in.
If not, they're going down the road, they'd be wide, they hit vehicles.
So you want to have enough spares on hand that, you know, you can keep on going during the busy season, because if all you have is enough to replace what you've got on the grader, and then they get worn down to nothing, and you don't have any on hand, you could lose a day or two or more of
Well, if you didn't have it, you'd lose a lot, because their bids are only good for so long, because of the steel, you'd have to redo all that, so we have to order them.
They got carbide in them too, so they wear them.
So more than likely, you're questioning 20, but more than likely, they'd use some, and when we did an order, that was to get us back to what we feel is our,
Right.
there's probably 100 of them sitting in the barn.
How much you need on hand?
Are we ready to vote on the motion?
Sure.
Then moving and second, to pay the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Were we supposed to sign this other one too?
Yeah, and there should be an EFT with one of them.
There is.
Oh, I didn't sign that other one.
This one,
Yeah.
thanks.
We were talking about angle the blades, you wanted to turn the blade the other way, but the load, the loader, because that guy run, turning the blade right in the loader tire.
Payroll dated June 5th, $112,299.70.
I move we approve payment of the payroll.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Just a quick question, Bob, this probably doesn't include any of the summer help on this payroll, does it?
Not for that one.
Probably the next time around.
Yep.
Treasurer's report.
The beginning cash investment balance is $2,495,504.98. The total receipts, $824,803.01. Total disbursements, $430,593.74. Bonds in escrow, $10,250. CDs reserved for 2 trucks is $680,163.63. Ending available fund balance is $2,199,300.62. And outstanding accounts payable is $1,429.
Any questions?
On the deposits, who's Prim Morris Renewable Energy?
That's the solar companies up in Scipio and Litchfield.
See, that's not, it must be an LLC name, because that's not the name that I've been
It's
hearing.
like Heartland, Primos, yeah, there's like 3 different names that fall under different things for that.
Okay, I was just
But
curious.
yes, that's who it is.
Okay.
Stand as presented. Thank you. Nothing on the standing order. Public comment.
Public comment? I don't have a comment, but I've got a question. I'm just wondering, and that's why I'm here, I'm wondering when the southern end of Hillsdale Road will be fixed, south of Montgomery. It's becoming a disaster to drive along. I mean, you know, I guess you call it cold patching, you know, throwing down some cinder and tar. Just isn't cutting it. It gets put down and a few days later it's dug up again by the cars going over it. And of course, the road gets worse every year as the snow graders, you know, rip up the edges. So I'd like to know what the plans are for fixing that part of the road. I could say the same about, Territorial, but since I live on Hillsdale, I'm more concerned with that.
What you got,
To be honest with you, we have nothing on Hillsdale right now. We do have stuff for Territorial. We'll just be prioritizing them as we can go. We got
And how does,
1,200 miles of road in the county to take care of.
I understand that, but since Hillsdale's a major north-south artery in the county,
How many years has it been since you touched Hillsdale Road?
That I couldn't tell you, okay.
Yeah, it's been overdue for a long time. Waiting till the last minute, is just unacceptable. Given how we get treated south of Montgomery Road. In fact, numerous people identify that as the Mason-Dixon line that work for this union in this company.
I've heard that. What's that actually mean?
Well, it probably goes back to Civil War.
I hear Amboy,
Probably goes back to Civil War.
you know, south of Montgomery.
That means we get treated like shit.
yeah. The road south of Montgomery, it's not just the two I mentioned. I could say the same about Sellers. Sellers was repaired a few years ago, but it was immediately falling apart. There's a long crack in the eastern part of the road that was.
That's one we're gonna take care of.
Right, I understand, but there's far less traffic on Sellers than there is on Hillsdale. I meant to say Camden. Part of Camden to the east was fixed a few years ago and it looks just fine. But there's several miles west of, what is 49? Or
And 99.
99, sorry. I don't do numbers.
Goes clear through there. There's no way you can patch, pave 3 foot wide on some of them
Yeah,
lanes that the semis run in. There's no way you can do that to try to alleviate just north of Sellers Road, actually. That's a pretty good crappy hole right through there.
Yeah.
also south.
Pretty good. You get down there up by the Amish guys, South Camden. That's pretty crappy there too. Them 2 low spots that they've never been able to fix since I've been in this state since '87.
But also
them
south of
roads
Sellers
never
Road.
been fixed right.
South of Sellers Road, maybe 200 yards or so. There's a spot that got really bad and it's been patched repeatedly this year. And a sign put up saying bump ahead.
That's where they put the tile.
That's actually a
When are we gonna fix that tile?
As soon as we get the paver out.
Well, it's more than just that.
We got more than that in one in the county that we gotta pave that we're down over the winter.
But generally, that whole stretch of 4 miles from Montgomery down to Ohio, is just one series after another of these sort of holes building on, and then the edges of the road, you know, just disintegrating as the plows scrape them apart in the winter.
So what are you gonna do for Territorial? Sorry to interrupt. What's in the works for that? Because you come around here this spring, spend a lot of money putting grinding spots in the middle of the road, and boy, it was kinda early. We got a good freeze, and man, you get there west of 49, it just blew them roads to pieces. And them roads there are getting as bad as Hillsdale Road. I have to drive them quite often, so. I didn't know that the county took care of them. I thought that was state roads, where you take care of them, state reimburses you. How's that work?
For Territorial?
Yeah.
That's not a state road.
That's just all county?
I'll address all the work that we're.
So no wonder it's going to crap. I don't have much faith in Hillsdale County, to tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. After living up here almost 40 years, I just haven't seen it. Father-in-law spent 22 years working for these guys, you know, and I know other employees that retired that, I delivered propane for the last 8 years in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, so I know, I watch all these characters out there trying to look busy. And,
I was born on Hillsdale Road.
and your name is?
Mike Party.
Okay.
Lived there long time, well, all my life. And Hillsdale Road, south of Montgomery Road, has always had those problems.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I disagree.
they've tried to fix them and I don't know if we can fix them right. I don't even know, you know, like you said, they're just south of the Pentecostal church, over that hill, that slides away there all the time.
It's an endless pit of going down,
Yep.
period.
So I don't know if they develop something that'll work now, or, and I know there's tons of stuff down in there, tons of stuff.
Did they ever take, well, you have to, did they ever take the time to actually put, a big rock in there and
Oh, yeah,
run rollers over it and try to smash it down in to get some base?
yeah, there's gotta be a blanket or something put down there to keep that from sliding away. I
You
don't
got your
know.
mats.
Yeah,
So, and then Sellers Road that we just put in here a couple years ago, and back here by East End Drive,
yeah,
I think it's falling apart again.
yeah,
2 spots on Woodbridge just south of Sellers.
yeah.
And more, actually, it's going to hell.
Oh,
That was a terrible job that everybody, the county and all of us paid for, cause I live at Lake Diane.
right.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's been that way for 70 years, I know.
When was the last time it was actually paved and not just patched?
You don't know.
You don't know, you guys.
I think
I
it's
know,
done, I think it's done one time.
We're approaching 30 years.
I
Oh, yeah.
know, chip sealed in 2008 and crack sealed in 2014.
I think they tore it apart in the, about the time I actually come to Michigan, somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s. Might even been in the mid 80s.
I think the problem is it's gonna cost so much money to fix it.
Well, I tell you what, fellas, there's more and more Amish living on that road, and I don't wanna hear it, and I've heard it from township supervisors, that somebody here has told them that you got too many Amish living on your road, when your road falls to shit, we're gonna tear it up and turn it back to stone.
Nobody here
That
said
is unacceptable.
Nobody here said that.
No.
Well, I'm just saying,
Might be a worker.
that's what the
but-
township supervisors, or have told me over the years.
No.
From delivering propane to their house, cause I engage a lot of people in these kind of conversations, delivering propane,
I've been here 20 years and it's never been said.
okay?
So what would it take to make that a priority to be fixed? Again, I'm not talking, patching, but getting paved right. Like was done recently, not too long ago on East Camden. Or what would it take to get that paved right correctly?
He's talking on the other side of 99, that real nice pavement.
Yeah, east of 99.
4 or 5 years ago or whatever.
Exactly.
They would take a federal aid grant for that kind of money.
And you guys apply for those things? And what would it take then to make those 4 miles of South Hillsdale a priority?
I guess,
I have
it
to
falls
come,
in line. I mean, we've got to prioritize the entire county.
I have to come here every month and shake you guys by the shoulders.
Okay, but
Well, how many other places you have of higher priority right now? Because I drive around, other parts of the county and it's just nothing like that. It's just really a disaster in Amboy Township in particular.
okay. Well, when I get to my
Report.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we're working on.
We can move right to that.
Any more questions? You got any more questions?
So
See what it says.
I'll start with Kevin's stuff. All the tree work and stump removals that have been from the 2023 and 24 projects, all the stumps and trees have been done, taken care of. So there's just a couple of those that still need to be debermed and those can get closed out and be done. As far as scraping for the brine, we're about 3/4 of the way through the county. We're back up to Moscow Township right now with the scraping, and we're actually at Cambria with the brine itself. They've still got some lake lots to do that they have to use a smaller truck on, but we've hounded them here lately about getting on those to get those done. But they're basically about the Cambria Township. If all goes right and the weather doesn't rain us out or whatever, they're still hoping to be done by around the 4th of July.
Perfect.
So that's a lot quicker than the past.
Steve Wismar, I work with him at Yelters. And he's a township supervisor, I'm not sure which township.
Jefferson.
He said his road's the best condition it's ever been, ever, right now.
Okay, well, they probably just came through there with the graders and the trucks, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great in there.
Cause right, like I said, they started in Camden, went north, came over south, and so they're back up to Moscow, so they probably just went through there, and then they'll move over to the last row and go down. The brine should be right behind them.
And they did Adams yesterday.
Scraping. Where are they at with the brining then? 'Cause
Brine's in Cambria.
Cambria.
Well, that's. Alright,
I had thought we had gotten started in Woodbridge with the brine, from a report I heard. No, not
Never
yet.
started in Woodbridge.
No, not start there.
It started brining.
Yeah,
What I've got from this morning was, they're in Cambria,
so Woodbridge would be next in line then,
probably, yeah. And they might have already started to tip up into there, but
okay.
no, they're going the other way, aren't they? They're
No.
from Cambria to,
No,
Hillsdale.
they're go-
no, they went north on the first row. from
okay,
Camden.
so they're that many townships behind? I thought we were going the other way. You're 1, 2.
Started in Camden Township,
Right,
went north.
correct. So we're brining here, but we're scraping all the way up in Moscow.
Yes,
They're that far ahead of them.
That's my point. That's why I was thinking we were the other way.
No.
So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 townships behind?
Mhm.
I thought we were supposed to be closer than that.
no, we've been hounding them, so.
What are they gonna do to rectify the situation?
They're putting more trucks on it,
When?
2 days ago.
We just had that discussion with them.
And so they're gonna be caught up by,
They're saying they will
what's
still.
this day, tomorrow?
They plan on also being done by the 4th of July.
They'll probably work Saturday and Sunday, I'm assuming.
They finished up 2 of their other counties, so now they can push all those trucks to us.
So why did they finish up their other counties first and they got behind on ours?
Because we were after them. We bid it after them. Priorities.
Well, I guess this goes back to having conversation, cause it's Corrigan,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
We've had conversations about them
Yep.
falling behind.
Yep.
I thought we have rectified that situation, but yet we're here again.
Yes, we are.
And I thought that was on Corrigan, and I thought we had that all figured out.
Yes. If
Then
we
why-
want to discuss this in depth, we can, but we're on it.
Alright,
Got it covered.
okay,
They were a little better.
As far as other works, the crews are out there doing the normal patching. We started limestone and gravel patching in Camden, which is the same process, that same cycle as the brine and the scraping. Camden is complete, and so they moved on up into, Reading, and they'll move on from there. When they spread that newer gravel or limestone, whichever the township is getting, then depending on how big those spots are, we'll take our tanker and go spot and brine those so that it's not like a dusty spot in the middle of a road that's already been brined. And so, they're getting the paver around right now. Monday they'll start doing the paver patching. We got a whole list of local roads and the primary roads that they'll be hitting with the paver. And I'll go over that here in a second. The culvert replacement for Territorial Road is gonna also start Monday. So that means Territorial Road is gonna be shut down until that's complete. The 2 will be delivered on Monday. The crane will be there to unload it and set it in place on Monday. And then however long it takes to get it set and backfilled. The mowing contractor is, from everything that I've heard and seen, doing a great job. They started in the southeast corner of the county of the first 2 townships. And so they're gonna go make a line north for the first 2 townships. They'll move over and a line south to the other 2 townships. They're also saying that, and they're almost done with that first line. So they're also saying they should be done mowing hopefully around the 4th of July. So we'll should have mowing, brining, all that done for at least the first round by the 4th of July. We started our seasonal laborers, finally got all the medical and paperwork done, so we started those on Monday. So yes, you will start seeing the seasonals on the payroll page. We brought in 10. 2 of them are helping Heather doing like inspections and, keeping track of they're out there looking at guardrail today to annotate where all the guardrail's at, what it is, and they're doing a bunch of stuff like that for Heather. The others are working, some of them are grass mowing, some of them are running a boom mower, some of them they're all laborers, but some of them are flagging traffic, some of them are patching potholes, so that's what we're using them for. Let's see. I'm not sure how much of this is kind of what you've already heard in the past. Let's see. Oh, Heather's saying that the crane and everything's now on the 23rd, so it won't be this Monday, it's next Monday. That's for the territorial road culvert. The Elm Road Bridge, everything is submitted, all the studies are done, everything's submitted to Eagle. We're just waiting on Eagle to reply back as to what they're gonna allow us to put in there. Hopefully it's the two. Buckeye Road, west of Bird Lake Road, that culvert, and then the Somerset Road, north of Stewart Road, that bridge structure. We've got the proposals from 2 different companies right now that to do all the engineering work for them, and so probably next board meeting you may be getting a proposal to let's pick this company or this company to do all that. I don't want to even hazard a guess at the cost. Heather will give it to me here in a second. Oh, I guess she's got it right here. Never mind. So we've got SME and CEI. Somerset, okay. So we might need a yay or nay or vote on this. So Mannequin Smith said they're not interested in submitting a proposal because they would be like, for what this is asking for, it'd be an astronomical amount for them to even worry about, so they didn't even submit a proposal. SME out of Lansing for Somerset Road is $69,700. For Buckeye Road, it's $65,100 for a total of $134,800. Their time frame to do it, they expect 12 to 16 weeks pending permitting. The other one is SEI out of Battle Creek, and Somerset Road is $34,000 even. Buckeye Road is $27,000. They've added a contingency of $6,000 for a total of $67,000, and their time frame is 22 weeks pending permitting. So basically, it comes down to the higher one with less time, or the lower one for a longer amount of time.
My opinion, lower one.
Is Cleveland?
That's quite a difference.
So these are proposals for professional services, so it doesn't have to be a sealed bid. That's why we went with proposals. So that at that point, I would probably ask that you guys vote on which proposal you'd like.
What is the professional services they're gonna provide?
Engineering.
It's
And
the
inspect-
engineering.
Engineering and, all the
Alright,
permit
alright.
stuff that goes to the permit.
Okay.
What was the difference of time frame?
Basically, 6 weeks. For the max on the SME is 16 weeks, and the CEI is just calling it 22 weeks. So it's 6 weeks longer, but it's significantly cheaper.
For 67,000, I can wait a few weeks.
Well, that's good.
Well, the other thing is too, when you're dealing with Eagle, to get approval to do whatever gets recommended, how long does that take? Months.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's what we're
Minimum.
gonna depend on these companies to
Yeah.
get that stuff pushed through.
Yeah, I would move we go with the lower bids.
Is Wheatland on board with replacing the bridge on Somerset?
Depends on price and if it.
And really, this is like the first step. We gotta get the engineering stuff and the permitting stuff done before they even
Know what we're doing.
are even gonna say, yeah, because they don't even know what they're gonna be on the hook for.
All right, I'll support the motion.
Any more discussion?
Was there a motion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary made a motion.
Alright, sorry.
So, I do have a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So if the engineering takes 22 weeks, when's the bridge replacement gonna be done?
It depends on a lot of the townships.
The township and the Eagle.
Townships have to come on board.
So the engineering is 22 weeks, if that, my memory serves me, that's almost half a year. So they're not gonna be replaced this year, and maybe not next year by the time you do bids for the actual bridges and whatnot.
Well,
I would hope it'd be next year, as long as the townships are on board, so that process can take place over the fall and winter, to where come spring, summer, they could start working on them, if the townships
Okay.
participate.
So we're paying these engineering fees and townships aren't gonna pay, defray that cost at all.
I'll have to see how that works out, as whether we can or not, but I think we have to absorb that.
Okay,
To get the stuff done, to know where we're at.
so the bridge we did in Allen Township on Hog Creek Road, that engineering we paid for in-house through Jackson County?
Yeah, Jackson came out.
So we don't know what we actually paid for that, or we would know?
That wouldn't have been a whole lot, cause there wasn't a lot of changes to that. I mean, that was pretty much an in-kind,
So these bridges are gonna change?
Probably.
That's why
probably.
it's costing more. And the company that chose not to bid, again, why didn't they bid?
Cause they feel that what we're asking them to
Too
do, cause we sent out a proposal, we
Right.
want you to do this and this and this. What they know their company, if they were to bid on that, would be astronomical, and they'd be like way over everybody, and so they didn't
Because
bother.
they don't do that kind of work, or because
Usually.
they're overworked?
Probably it's a little both, but it's that type of work, they probably just don't do a lot, and if they had to
Okay.
bid on it, they
Okay.
would charge you a lot of money for it.
I better understand that conversation.
They're actually the company that did territorial road bridges.
Right.
Yes,
So they do inspection work, they don't do
yeah, all this engineering and water
this
flow and.
engineering type of, okay,
That's-
okay.
So just a point of information, isn't the Buckeye Road situation currently a culvert?
Yes. But you never know when you get through all the permitting, is that gonna be a bridge, is that gonna be a bigger culvert, is it gonna be,
So
What's the
roughly,
even gonna cost?
what's the size of the existing culvert out there?
I don't have that offhand.
I guess I didn't think it was that big of a
It's-
culvert.
It's over 36 inch, so it'd have to be, split with it'd have to have a match with the township. But as long as it stayed a culvert, that's a lot cheaper. If you
Yeah.
have to go to a structure, you're looking at basically the same, like timber bridges are
Yeah.
the cheapest. But, and so then you're anywhere from 200,000 to 300,000.
Yep.
Hopefully that one is a culvert, and we're hoping we can make the Somerset one, same as the Elm, a culvert.
Yeah.
So. All depends on Eagle.
And refresh my memory, Buckeye Road is in what township?
Amboy.
Amboy, thank you.
All right, we got a motion to take the lowest bid, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Alright, thank you. Let's see, Frontier Road, south of Burt Road culvert. We're advised by Eagle that they can only work, or that we can only work on the Drain Commission's exemption if the Drain Commission has a project. So I think I talked to you back a while ago about doing a contract with the Drain Commissioner to work under their exemption. So we sent that off to McCrissa, our insurance carrier, and we sent it off to Eagle saying, hey, if we did this, we just want to make sure if we did this, are we covered under the Drain Commission's exemption? And so they basically gave us a report back saying, if we do something in the road right away that's a Drain Commission project, it's not just that culvert. If the culvert goes bad and that's all we're doing, we gotta go by Eagle. But if they're doing something where they're and they bolded project for the Drain Commission, then we can do that portion under their exemptions. So that's gonna be and we'll have to work with Matt Ward, that if they make it a project, then we can do that work. But if not, and it's just that, we've gotta go with Eagle.
Is that the project he's trying to pull together and get done sooner versus later with some township help?
Yeah,
That's a
well,
that's
that's
a
just one.
different, that's a,
This is
it's a
like-
different
Oh, this
project.
is a different
Yeah.
Yeah,
project.
this is like for any project that
But
he's
so
doing.
you're going forward,
If
okay.
he can call it and make it a project for the drainage district, then we can work under its exemption. If it's just the tube went bad, we gotta just fix that deal with Eagle.
Okay.
Isn't the other one that Kathy's referring to, Frontier Road in Harmon?
The buildup or the drain?
Well,
That's
it's,
the drain.
it was kind of an either or situation where Matt was, when he was here, he was proposing to do a drainage project there rather than build up the road.
That was brought up last time.
Yeah.
And boy, there's 1,200 foot of drainage and then another 500. And
And it goes between two townships.
yeah, and Johnny Burkhart's on the board, and most of that's his ground and it'll be assessed to. And that's pretty much a big discussion. I can understand it, but still.
So anyway, for that particular one, because there's two crossings, there's one on Harmon and one on Frontier. If that's a drainage project, we can take care of those two crossings and help do that and fall under his exemptions and don't have to go through Eagle for all the permitting. The other is all on him for the drainage district, so.
Right.
So, I mean, we could help into there, but
Well, I
only
thought,
certain.
what the discussion was, is that Matt wanted to do those drain projects, but they weren't gonna be sooner, because he had other big ones going on, and a money issue, whereas he thinks it's a drain issue, therefore building up the road's not the right thing to do, so the discussion was going to those townships to see if they would contribute money to the drain project, to get the drain project done, which would fix the road issue also.
Yes.
So I thought that was the
But if
conversation.
that happened, we would help and jump in and do those two crossings, or at least
Right,
participate in those
right,
two crossings.
right. Without any additional monies from the township.
Yes, for the crossings.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's still in the works. All I'm saying is, from here on out, if we wanna work under his exemption, we can, as long as it's a project for the drainage district.
But I think you're right, Kathy, it may not get accomplished this year. And
It might be next year, so my question is,
Oh, definitely.
did the township sign the contract to build up the road? And is that on pause? I guess
Yes.
that is on
Yeah.
pause, okay.
They did sign the contract, I believe you guys also agreed,
Right.
approved it too, but it's on hold until we
But
see.
it is on hold,
how
and it's
that
not gonna
all-
get done, and somebody say, oh, well, they signed it, we didn't really, you know, how that, okay.
Well, Ann Boy's complaint last night was, it's, of course, they got a millage for roads. And the millage has to be spent on the road, not on a drain. And so, that's another one there.
How to figure that
Catch
out.
ups.
But as I mentioned to
General
you,
fund,
yeah,
but
there's another possibility if they're willing to do it. And most of these townships have a substantial general fund balance. They clearly could take some of that money and put into that
To
project.
do that, this
Yeah.
project, to get it done and to do the right thing there.
Yeah.
And at our meeting, they didn't turn that down,
Right, they're still in
so it's
discussion.
just, they just didn't say yes to it either.
Exactly.
Okay,
All right, so moving on. Camden Road between Pittsburgh and Tripp. That's our 2024 federal aid that's getting done right now. It's gotta be done by the 20th of June. They're actually putting the top course on today. So then they come back on Monday, Tuesday to do the shoulders and monuments and pavement markings, that kind of stuff. They're still planning to be done by the 20th. For the 2025 federal aid projects, which are Concord Road, Jonesville Road, and Herring Road. Basically about 2 miles for each one of them. We're gonna have a pre-construction meeting here this afternoon at 2 to meet with the contractors and go over all that. Their completion date is August 16th for those. So those are the 3 primary federal aid projects, and those are, kinda goes back years. That's for the next 3 years. That's been scheduled out. So we're doing 2 miles this year, 2 miles next year, 2 miles the third year, which will complete all of Concord Road from 12 to the county line, Jonesville Road, and Herring Road's just this year, so that's like a mile and a half, and that'll get done this year. After that is when other roads can be selected as a federal aid project. We have to submit them and get them approved. But, so as a minimum, that's probably gonna be into 2027 or 2028 before those would even get awarded or be eligible.
And how would we get them on the schedule for those later years?
That'll be up to us. We have, like I said, we got roads all across the county. Certain ones are eligible for federal aid, certain ones aren't. I'm pretty sure Hillsdale will be one of them, but that'll just be on our scheduling or prioritization. Let's see. We have bridge maintenance that's coming up that we're going to have to get done. Sheet here. So these are all the primary and local roads that we've been notified that there's work that has to be done on them to improve them. Most of it all is concrete work, whether it be some of them have a concrete sidewall, some of them have falling on the concrete on the deck, but these are called out by MDOT saying you need to fix these things. And they all total up here for 5 primary roads and 4 local roads. It's going to be about a little over $30,000 to do all this work. And I think last meeting we had Albright as the contractor out of Angola that's going to be performing the work. They'll work through this summer and fall to get these things done, get us caught up with MDOT's requirements. And that'll be an ongoing thing as they find more and more bridge stuff. It'll just a matter of life. Still working with Blaine down there on Sellers and East Diane. He did some grading on the side for Sellers that I think will let the water flow away from the road like it should. He's still got some to do, and he kind of took the dirt from there somehow and like pushed it over, and now it's like, to me, it's blocking East Diane. So I told him he's got to get that so that things will flow to the corner and around the corner and down before we'll entertain moving forward with Monte Carlo. At the same point, we talked to the township and we're looking at sending out letters to all the residents that live on Monte Carlo to see if they're interested in just doing the whole thing at once instead of just doing a portion that he would like to do. So more to come on that, but we'll have to get with the township and the residents to see how they look. But we told them that most probably what to get done this year is gravel to help match up to the concrete that's out there, and then depending on the people's approval or not on doing the whole thing. If they don't, then we'll do that portion that he's asking for, and he's putting in the match. So
I'm assuming that if the others want to do it, it'd be, they'd have to all go together.
yes, it'd have to be some kind of
assessment.
special assessment or
Or
something along that line.
assessment.
I'm not sure exactly how many residents are on that road, but it's not a long road, but it still could add up.
Well, I was there within the last week. Okay, and so from sort of like the top of the hill east, that water is still all running to the road. There's no slope back to the south.
There's a swale that he put in there.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
And still,
From the top of the hill,
It goes both
East.
ways.
from the top of the
Top
hill
hill
east,
yep.
the dirt that he filled in the ditch with, all of that water is running out onto the road. Now, from the top of the hill west to the corner, yes, there is a little slope, and so it is running south. But right at the corner of Lake Diane,
That's where he needs to work on that corner.
there's gotta
down
be,
East
there's
Diane.
no slope there.
Yep.
But
And
there's,
actually, those boxes have to get raised.
Yep.
The,
Yeah,
the,
they're-
the
they'd
foam,
be on the
foam
water
pads,
now.
yeah, foam pads and stuff like that have to be raised, and supposedly he's been talking with the phone company, because he already cut the wire once, and, and so, he's been working with them, they're supposed to raise those, and then he's got a shape, so the water will flow on cellars to the west and around the corner and down east
Yeah.
end to that pond. So when he gets that, and I'll relook at the going east off of the top of the hill, when he gets that all done, then we'll entertain doing the other stuff that he wants to do on Monte Carlo. But we told him none of that will get, we not looked at it, so we're starting to plan, but we're not gonna do any physical work until he gets that
yeah.
done.
I'm just curious, did you guys initiate that leveling, or did he?
No.
He didn't even get a permit, he just dove into
He
it.
never contacted Miss Stig, obviously.
No.
And if he did, he didn't pay attention.
No, very well, no, it's all done on purpose.
Yeah, so,
I don't trust the guy based on what
But
I
he needs to
see.
put a bigger ditch in there too.
okay,
That's
well,
gotta be ditched.
anyway,
Spring melt and heavy rains.
anyway,
Be out on the road.
so our pavement marking bids for this year they're out right now, and so they should be here on the 26th on your meeting to get opened and see who gets the pavement marking bid this year.
You said at the next meeting?
Yes. So, like I said, I won't be here, so Heather and Kevin will probably be here to take care of
So
that.
we get to grill them.
That's it, yep. All right, so and I'm just gonna kind of go through a quick list here of projects that we got on the books here. So, primary paver patching is Woolworth from Sterling to Jerome, Jerome from Addison to Chandler, Camden Road from the village of Camden to Carpenter, Lilac Road from Cambria to South Hillsdale, and then Territorial from Coke to 49. And I believe the Territorial from, well, no, that's a paver patch. Then on the local side of things, and it matches up with the projects that they're asking for, and it'll be the same thing for chip seal. Eden Road is basically that Territorial Road cutoff, so Territorial to 49, so that'll get, I believe, a total overlay. And then Beecher Road from Lake Pleasant to Black Bridge, and then Beecher Road from Black Bridge to Bird Lake. Abbott Road is Reading to Card, Cranberry Lake Road, Sterling to Litchfield, Mosierville Road is Rainey to Borden, Lime Lake Road is Coleman to Elm. And then most of those same ones, okay, so those are just paper patching. So the chip and seal, the fog seal, is North Adams Road, Billings to Dennings. I think that's the portion we did last year we paved. So it's gonna get chip sealed this year. Camden Road from Pittsburgh to Waldron. Lilac Road, Cambria to Hillsdale, so that's the one that's getting done this year, paved. And then Montgomery Road, Long Lake to 49, and Long Lake from Cambria to Hillsdale. Those are the primary roads that we're doing. And the local roads are Gay Road, Millens to Lake Pleasant, the streets in Osseo, which are Black Bridge to Osseo. Beecher Road is the two that I already mentioned, is Lake Pleasant to Black Bridge and Black Bridge to Bird Lake. Abbott Road, Reading to Card. Winfield Road from Mosierville to Goose Lake Road. The streets in Mosierville, east and west of Winfield. Cranberry Lake Road, Sterling to Litchfield. Mosierville Road, Rainey to Borden. Lime Lake Road, Coleman to Elm, and then again Eden Road, Territorial to 49.
Can you get a copy of that?
Yes, we can.
Please?
Okay, going on my notes here. So I did go down to the Camden Township meeting last night. Gave them kind of a quick overview on all this. When they were reading off their minutes from the past meeting, that they talked about where you'd given them, I think either an update, I don't think you were actually there, but give them an update that one of the roads was McCollum that we were gonna work on. It is on the list, but it's not on the, I guess what I'd call the first round, and that's the ones I just read off. Once we get these done, if we have time and money left to do more, we're gonna select the next group, and that's probably one of the first ones that'll be on that next group. So I told them, it's on the radar, it could get done, but I'm not gonna guarantee it. They may have to go to next year. But I'm hoping we're being conservative on these to get through them, to see where we sit, the cost of asphalt and everything. And then once we get these done, I'm hoping we can do another batch just about like these for later in the year. So the stump drain project with the drain commissioner, they're gonna cut the road June 18th for Camden Road. They intend to take 2 to 3 days if it takes them that long. We're gonna take care of the road closure, the signage, and they're putting that out right now so that it's sitting there ready for them, and the drain commission will put all the signs out when they're ready to do it. And then when they're done, we'll come back and pick it up.
You said one again, are they gonna make that cut? Close the road?
June 18th. So
What about the detour on the Burt Road? On that corner, are we supposed to make that wider for truck traffic?
That's when it's on the state project on
yeah, that's a
29.
different project.
Well, it's the same project,
Well,
but it's a different portion.
This is only doing the Camden Road, the downstream portion of that drain before they can work on
Right.
the 99 portion.
Is Matt
Once
doing
they
it
hit-
or the contractor?
What's that?
Is Matt doing it or the contractor? I think the
I
contractor.
think contractor. He's organizing. He's the project manager for it,
Right.
but I think it's a contractor doing it. But, let's see. Covered the fuel pumps. Okay, so a couple things from the minutes of April 24th. I'd asked you guys to approve, and you approved number 25-055, which was for the 2015 Ford Explorer for $5,500. We decided against.
Wasn't it 15,000?
It's $5,500
For the Ford Explorer that he had bought.
for the original Ford Explorer.
Oh, okay.
After I went up there and looked, and one, it wasn't there, but we decided against it. So we would need you guys to rescind that approval for the auditors, so that they don't see a approval and say, well, where's that vehicle at? So I need a motion to rescind that one, and then I'm gonna ask you to do a new one that we've looked at.
I moved to rescind.
Support.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so with that, we have done some more looking, and there's an SUV at the Ford dealer in Adrian. It's a Ford Edge, 2023 with 14,000 miles on it. They're asking 32, or sorry, no, that's the wrong one. There we go. 28,614 is the inventory, or the price. That's for after all the document fees and the government fees and all the little things plus their cost. It comes out to 28,614. And so I would ask that you approve to purchase that vehicle.
I know, we're $614 over what I told
You telling it wrong?
I thought you said 23,000, so there you go.
No,
So you
28.
said 20, okay.
28.
Okay, so can we discuss? There's no motion, is that all right to
Yeah.
discuss?
I move we buy the vehicle.
So we can discuss it.
Okay,
Support.
all right.
Now you can
So-
discuss.
So my discussion is what can we buy a vehicle through the government procurement process.
Gov deals?
Yes,
For a new vehicle?
yes, and like a 23 Edge with not real fancy.
Actually, it's not bad,
What's not bad?
the Edge.
Well, I know, but my point is can we get a brand new vehicle for that
You'll be in
money
the
or less?
forties to get a brand new one.
So why is this one's with only 14,000 miles?
It's a lease turn in, that's what all these are that are
Okay.
like 22, 23, 24s, they're leases that all the different vendors have them.
Who's gonna use this vehicle?
Me, the manager position.
And that truck will go to heaven.
And then the truck that I currently have will go to Heather doing the projects.
Alright,
Because she really needs a pickup hauling various stuff, doing testing.
Yes. And like I said, she's got two seasonals working with her too, so we're trying to keep them in a vehicle, which that one's like pretty rough. But they're at least driving that one, and then she needs one to be able to hit the projects too, so. So a new one, say a same type of vehicle, Edge or Explorer or something like that, because that's what the Edge is, just a little bit smaller than Explorer. You're gonna be in the probably mid to high 40s on gov deals.
With the gov deals
Yes.
discount?
Yep.
See, I would have thought you would have been closer to 30,000, because I thought it was about $10,000 discount. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I'm just, that's kind of where we were talking when I was.
Well, I was trying to avoid new.
Right.
I don't need a new.
Right.
This is in very good condition, very low miles.
Okay,
So we can look at new if that's what you want, but I was trying to avoid that.
I've never bought a new vehicle in my life, and I have no intentions to. I mean, for this very reason. The fact that you're looking at a $18,000 discount off from a new one with only 14,000 miles on it.
I like to have information, so if you would, if you'd have come with us with the homework, then I'd say, yeah, buying new doesn't make sense. But if we're within $2,000 of a brand new vehicle versus one with 14,000 miles, then I say, hey, maybe we buy the brand new one. That's all I like to know.
Yeah.
So, but.
Any more discussion? Been moved and seconded to buy the Explorer, or no, the Edge.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You say aye?
I did.
All right, motion carried.
Alright, let's see. Do that again. So we talked about the fuel system, these are the proposals, and let's see if I can find the one I'm looking for. Okay, so just a rough, that's just kind of a rough sketch of the drawing of if it was two canopies, one would be there, one would be there, and these are your fuel. That's a new 500-gallon DEF dispenser. They're replacing the diesel and gas with dual on all those, and then adding a satellite over here for the trucks that have tanks on both sides. So, and then I asked for a quote of either those two or one big, using the same footers and everything, just one big canopy, what's the difference, to see what.
Right.
And so when those come in, we'll see what those costs are.
I've got a question, do you use off-road fuel like the graders and the paver and all that, or is all
Well,
just one?
ours is intact, it's
We
not
don't pay
off-road
tax.
fuel. so-
All of ours is off-road fuel.
Yeah, everything is off-road, yeah.
It is?
It's not dyed, but
It's not that, you don't pay the tax, and that's the difference for the off-road.
Mhm.
Actually, the off-road is for off-road equipment.
And as one final note, the association had their vote last night on the TA and declined it. So we'll see where we stand at that point. where we go from here.
Okay.
So, waiting on, our attorneys to get back with us and tell us where we go. But they declined the TA as proposed. So I don't know exactly if they've got something that they wanna try to propose to